Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to another English with Joseph. You're all very welcome here to my video page. If this is your first time visiting, please let me know by sending me a message or a comment on Dailymotion. You can have a look around by checking my links at the top, which will take you to my Amazon book page, my Facebook and Twitter, which is very active. Today we're going to talk about the pub. As you might know, English people love drinking. They love going to the pub, they love socialising in the pub, and everyone has their own pub that they like. Younger English people these days drink much more than the national average, and the government is treating this as a serious problem. When you come to the UK, you can expect to be in the pub, because that really is where all of the socialising takes place, especially if you're looking to have a date. Of course, not everyone likes to drink. Some people don't, for many different reasons. There are some people who are religious, there are some people who have views on alcohol, and there are some people who just try to be healthy. However, the majority of people, a very high number of people, do drink, and it will be expected that you will do the same. So if you have any problems with alcohol, or if you have any morals, or if you are a religious person, then you should say immediately to your friends so they know not to invite you. The idea of going to a pub and not drinking is not very usual, especially in the evenings. Yes, you can go to a pub and have some lovely food at lunchtime, or even in the evenings, maybe if it's a pub that serves food. But to go for a party or a night out, we have various words for parties or nights out in English. But to go to one of these without drinking really isn't fun, because watching other people getting so drunk to the point that they can't walk, watching other people suddenly arguing for no reason, and the noise level with very bad music, I don't think that might be your cup of tea or something you would like. So before you begin socialising in the pub, you have to think, is it something I really want to do? And is it something I'm comfortable with? And it's also expensive. Alcohol is not cheap. Okay, so first of all, let's look at a few expressions first of all. So, your friend tells you, oh, we're having a party at the pub, would you like to come? If they use the word party, it's unlikely they're native speakers. Native speakers usually call a night at the pub a night out, a bash, some drinks, and knees up, because your knees rise when you dance. Of course, you're not going to be dancing, it's just an expression. Okay, these are some of the expressions you will hear. Oh, a few of us are going to the pub, we're going to have a drink. If you're in Scotland, you might even hear things like, we're going for a wee dram. It's a Scottish expression only. We're going for a pint is another one. We're going for a pint. That's something one man would say to another man, because our beer measurements are not in litres, they're in pints. We're going for a pint. Oh, I'll be back later, I'm just going for a pint. And that means I'm going for a pint of beer. It doesn't mean milk, it doesn't mean water, it's beer. Okay. There's a whole culture associated with drinking, but let's imagine that you are okay with drinking. Let's imagine that you do go to a pub. There's a few things to remember. Okay, first of all, depending on where you are in the UK, you need to understand the licensing laws. In Scotland, for example, it is not permitted to buy alcohol anywhere from the shops or in a pub before 12 p.m. Okay, so if you're in a hurry to have a drink in the morning time, you can't, okay, until 12. Okay, that's when pubs are allowed to serve alcohol, and that's when the shops are allowed to sell it. Okay? That does not apply to England. Many pubs in England open at 8 and close at midnight, and we even have some pubs which are open 24 hours. We don't have many of those, but there's usually one in most cities now, and it was brought in as a way to try and deal with the number of people who abuse alcohol. They thought that if we made it more accessible, the number of people who had problems with alcohol would go down. It didn't work, and as a result, most pubs close because it's just not worth running a pub into the night if no one comes to it. Okay, so you go to the bar and you know that they serve alcohol, so can I have a pint, please? And you'll be asked, a pint of what? And you have to choose pint of beer, pint of lager, pint of ale. You can choose any of them. The pub always has a lot. They might say to you, on draft. Draft is when they pull the lever and the beer comes from the barrel underneath. Okay. However, they may also say, we only have a bottle. Which beer is it you want? So you have to be quite specific to say a pint is not enough unless they know you. You need to be very careful with this, because if you go into a rough and tumble pub, that is a pub which only really serves alcohol and nothing else, then you could be offended if they tell you they don't have what you want. For example, if you go into a very rough pub and you say, hello, can I have a water? A bottle of water? The chances are you'll be told, we don't serve water. We don't have bottles of water. We have vodka, whiskey, but we don't serve water. Sorry. And even more so if you ask for ice and lemon, because some of our pubs are hard drinking pubs, and they're not for the faint-hearted. If you're in a city or in a big pub, it's fine, but the smaller the pub, the more crowded it usually is, and they usually sell specific things for specific people. And some of these pubs around the UK are still only for men. That's changing now, but in the cities in England it's fine. But if you go to a very rural area, you should not be surprised if you find that there's only men there and they look at you strangely. Okay, so I'd like a pint, please. Or you could ask for half a pint. Half a pint. Or you could ask for a whiskey and lemonade. Or a double whiskey and lemonade. Or a vodka and orange juice. Or a double vodka, where they give you 2 shots. Here in Spain, if you ask for a spirit, this is the name for strong alcohol, they'll just pour it into the glass and hand it to you. Usually too much of it. But in the UK, they're only allowed to sell certain measures of alcohol. They can't just give you a glass of whiskey based on what they think is correct. It has to be measured. Sometimes the glass has a measure. Sometimes the bottle has a little cork which only allows them to pour a certain amount. Some places around the UK also are very restricted with buying drinks for friends. If you go to the pub and you say, okay, I want to buy 6 pints of beer, 2 glasses of vodka, 3 cans of Coke, and 5 whiskies, you may well be told, sorry, we can only sell you 2 or 3 drinks at a time. And all of this is designed to stop people abusing alcohol. The laws in Scotland are much stricter than the laws in England because historically Scotland has had big problems with alcohol and alcohol abuse. It's one of our biggest killers. So 2 or 3 drinks is fine. Any more than that, again, don't be surprised if they refuse. Okay, so that's a very quick guide to ordering drinks in the UK. We use pints, and with spirits, we just ask for a whiskey or a double whiskey. You know, and you put a mixer in it, which is a small bottle of Coca-Cola, which they give you separately. And it's expensive. You can expect to pay a lot of money for that. Okay, so that's all I want to say today. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you and goodbye.